The Alpha Twins. Chapter 3. Like a Real Family. His voice was softer now. I want to know them, Octavia. Please. He stepped closer. Red, he said gently. Look at me. Her heart twisted so painfully she thought it might stop. He had called her that when they were alone. When they were happy. She remembered the way he used to touch her. The sounds he made when she touched him back. She flinched away from his outstretched hand like it burned. It would disturb them, she said quickly. Knowing you now. They came to me, Lionel insisted. They asked me if I was their father. They don't know what's good for them. And, do you? He shot back. Keeping them from their father? Guilt crashed over her in a wave. Because he was right. God help her. He was right. Lionel. Please, he said. Let me meet them. Let me show up for them. They do have a father. I'll show them. His voice dropped to almost a whisper. And you? Octavia froze. The sincerity in his voice cut through every defense she had built. This was Lionel. The man she had married. The man she had loved. The man she had lost. You don't have to, she whispered. I want to. The words were fierce. Certain. Absolute. One meeting, she heard herself say, tomorrow. The next morning, Octavia stood in the sitting room with the twins, trying to calm her racing heart. She had barely slept. Cora sat on the settee, swinging her legs restlessly. Why didn't he want to meet us before? She asked. It's complicated, sweetheart. Why didn't he come find us? If he's our daddy, why didn't he know about us? Octavia had no answer for that. Not one she could give to a 6-year-old. Nyla was quiet beside his sister, his hands folded carefully in his lap. What if he doesn't like us? He asked softly. The question broke her heart. She crossed to them and knelt down, taking both their hands in hers. I will love you no matter what, she said firmly. Do you understand? You are everything to me. It was not the reassurance they needed, and she knew that even as she said it. They did not need to know she would always love them. They knew that already. They needed to know their father would. A knock at the door made all three of them jump. Lionel looked different than he had last night in the study. The raw desperation was locked back down behind something gentler. He was nervous. May I come in? He asked quietly. He stopped a few feet from the twins, and Octavia watched his eyes move over them. Then he knelt down, bringing himself to their eye level. Hello, he said. Both children stared at him, frozen. Lionel swallowed, his throat working. His hands were shaking slightly. He extended his arms, an invitation. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then Nyla stepped forward and walked straight into Lionel's arms. Cora watched them, her small face conflicted, her lip trembling. With a small sound that was half sob, half laugh, she launched herself at him. Her arms wrapped around his neck, her face pressed into his shoulder. Lionel caught her easily, pulling her close. Octavia stood frozen, her hand pressed to her mouth, tears streaming down her face. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of Lionel with the twins while Octavia kept her distance. She told herself it was to give them space, but that was only half true. The truth was she could not watch. She had tried. That first afternoon, she had stayed in the room while Lionel knelt on the floor with Nyla, showing him something with his hands. Nyla had watched with enormous eyes, drinking in every word. And when he tried it himself and got it right, the way his whole face lit up. Octavia had excused herself. The twins told her everything, though. At dinner, at bedtime, at breakfast. They told her what he had shown them, what he had said, what he had done. Nyla spoke quietly, carefully, watching her face as he talked, as if checking for permission to be this happy. His hero worship slipped through in the way he said "Father" with careful reverence. Cora reported loudly, enthusiastically, with commentary for everything. And then Father said I could ride his horse. His horse, Mama. The big black one. But only if I promised to listen. And I did listen. I listened so well. And he said I was a natural. He let me hold his sword, Nyla said one evening. It was heavy, but he said I was strong. Octavia listened to all of it and kept her expression neutral. She was touched. And she was afraid. Because she remembered being exactly where Nyla was now, trailing Lionel with her eyes. She remembered being completely, helplessly taken by him. She had been so certain of him. She had never trusted anyone the way she had trusted Lionel. And she had never questioned it. Because he had never given her a reason to. Until the night he did. That was the thing she had never been able to resolve. She could not reconcile the man she had known with what she had seen that night. It still did not make sense. And, because she had never understood how he could be both her mate and her betrayer, she did not know what to trust. If she could not trust her own judgment, how could she watch her children love him the way she had loved him? And not be afraid? They were in the garden, Lionel and both twins. Cora was hanging upside down from Lionel's arm, shrieking with laughter. Nilo stood a few feet away, smiling in his quiet way, waiting his turn. Octavia stood in the shadowed archway and watched. Lionel was not performing. He was not looking around to see if anyone was watching. He was just with them, present, completely focused on the two small people currently destroying his composure and clearly delighting in it. He set Cora down gently, and she immediately demanded he do it again. He laughed deep and genuine, the kind of laugh Octavia remembered from before, and told her it was Nilo's turn. When Lionel set him down, Nilo said something too quiet for Octavia to hear. Lionel knelt down to his level and replied just as quietly. Whatever he said made Nilo's smile widen. Octavia's chest tightened. She knew that smile. Had seen it on Nilo's face so rarely. He was a careful child, slow to trust, slower to show joy. Lionel had earned that smile in 3 days. With Cora, it was different. She asked him hard questions. Why didn't you come find us before? Octavia had been in the room for that one. Had tensed, waiting for Lionel to deflect or charm his way past it. He did not. He looked at Cora seriously and said, I didn't know you existed. If I had known, I would have come immediately. Why didn't you know? The girl insisted. A pause. Lionel's eyes flickered to Octavia for just a moment before returning to Cora. That's complicated, he said quietly. But it's not because I didn't want you. I've always wanted you. Cora had frowned, clearly unsatisfied, but unable to argue with the sincerity in his voice. Another time she'd asked, Do you love Mama? Octavia had left before she could hear his answer. The man who held Cora now, who looked at her like she was something miraculous, who took her seriously and met her exactly where she was, that man did not feel like someone capable of what Octavia had seen that night. The thought had followed her for 7 years. And through all of it, there were small things between Lionel and Octavia, moments that accumulated like snow. He glanced over at her when the twins did something that made him laugh, as though his first instinct was still to share it with her. She looked away every time, but not always fast enough. The twins mentioned you used to love the rose garden, he said once, his tone carefully neutral. I thought you might want to see it again. She declined politely. He did not push, but there was disappointment in his eyes. He smiled at her sometimes, briefly. Not the cold, carved smile from the ball. The real one. The one that used to make her heart skip. It still did. She hated that it still did. Especially whenever Emiline appeared. Today, she came in with her brother by her side, her smile warm and perfect. Her hand settled on Lionel's arm, familiar and claiming. Darling, there you are. I've been looking for you everywhere. Lionel turned, giving her a distracted smile before turning back to Nilo. Sorry, Emiline. What is it? The dressmaker is here for the final fitting for the wedding. Her fingers curled around his bicep. I told her we could meet her in an hour, but she's asking for you specifically. Emiline's smile widened. She glanced at the twins, then at Octavia. And how lovely to see all of you together, her brother said, looking at Emiline, like a real family. Octavia sat very still and felt the warmth of the last few minutes drain away like water. Emiline was being polite. But she was also going to be his wife. She would want children. Legitimate heirs. Children of the king. And when those children arrived, what would happen to Nilo and Cora? The question sat in Octavia's chest like a stone. If you don't want to miss how this saga unfolds, please subscribe, like, and press that bell icon so that you will get notified the moment the new chapter drops. Thank you for listening and be safe out there.